members of parliament. Let's think economically. You're an economist. So let's think economically. How much money do MPs get? And how much gratuity do they get, mid-term gratuity or final gratuity at the end of their term? All this is going to impact on our economy. Our poor resources must not be going to pay politicians just because you want votes. It is wrong. So when we oppose this, it is not because we hate you. It is the warped thinking that is involved in this thing that we are condemning. And you as an individual, it is your thinking. And don't bring in the element of tribe. Like I've said, we've got Tonga friends. People have married across boards. Easterners have got marriages with the Tonga women. Tonga women have been married to Bemba men, to Kaonde men. What brings this tribalism? Why? And it is unfortunate that it is coming out of your mouth as the president. What do you want to do to this country? I repeat, you are not a victim, Hakainde Hichilema. Don't even bemoan the situation. No, you are not a victim. If you muchiremba if tutira mali buyako ilombela. Waila pwilo mulilo pamakamba huku pia, then you start crying that people need pia. Now yocha. It's not our fault.
Mali buyako ilombela indeed. He says, for the purposes of distribution of CDF, we need to do the delimitation process. And then he made another tribal remark. He says over the years, you know, his area has been disenfranchised by the number of constituencies. But a casual look at the number of constituencies is that you see that Muchinga has the lowest 10, then Luapula and Central Province have 15. Southern Province has 18 constituencies. Of course, Copperbelt is the highest with 22, followed by Eastern Province 21 and Western Province, I think, 19. Southern Province is 18. There, he also says, you know, the province was being discriminated against. And I'm glad that you've put that in context. There was another matter. He says the economy is doing very well, that it's on a trajectory, that he has resolved the issue of debt, that is now posting economic growth of up to 6%. He's resolved the crisis in the mines, in Mopani, KCM, and new mines have been reopened. He puts a case why he should be re-elected. Yet it seems to be, he seems to live in an alternative reality. I don't know how you pick this. Let me pick your mind on this matter of this so-called economic success that he has scored. He says he has a bumper harvest. The downturn is only load shedding, and he says he's resolving that load shedding. That hasn't gone away the last 2.5 years. But what do you make of that claim that the economy is on a path to recovery?
The economy is not recovering, the ambassador. And I'm sorry to report to my fellow Zambians that unfortunately, under Hakainde Hichilema, we are headed for doom. Why do I say this? Our president, unfortunately, practices the economics from a very theoretical angle. Some of us who live in the real world look at the breadbasket. Now, I understand that the economists will say no GDP, they will say this and all these fancy words and stuff. The final product per table, wali. What is the price of mini meal? What is the price of cooking oil? Essentials for a family to run a home. What is the price of fuel? What is the price or the tariffs on the electricity which run the economy? That is how you measure an economy. It doesn't matter the numbers that is going to post. Hakainde Hichilema, I think, is in a dream world. And Zambians, we should not listen to these lies anymore. We've listened to these lies before. We know what Hakainde Hichilema is trying to do. Let me give you an example of Ambassador. Northwestern Province has opened up a few mines. Those mines, most of them were opened under PF, not under UPND. But here's the catch. Most of what the investors have been using are our minerals. They go and prepare bankable documents after geological surveys. They get those bankable documents and then they go and float on the stock exchange either in Canada, in New York, or London, and they get investment to come in. Why is it that we can't use ZCCM-IH to produce bankable documents after geological reports are done? We use ZCCM-IH as what we term as venture capitalists to go and prepare those bankable documents so that the money remains here. There's nothing technical which Zambians cannot do. We've got geologists here, we've got mining engineers, mining metallurgists. They can do that. So for me, Hakainde Hichilema has got a deal with some of these investors. Maybe he borrowed money when he was in the opposition, so he's giving them some tax holidays. Maybe he wants to make them happy because of whatever private arrangements he has with his friends. This is not how you run a country. So when he says the economy is on the upswing, let me give you another example. I'm still in North. The Mwinilunga Cannery, which again was a PF project, today information reaching us is running at 5%. Why? Because the machines are not being used to the maximum. There's no real investment in terms of agricultural produce because the produce must be agricultural and then given to the factory. What the machines are doing now are just crushing our pineapples and selling the juice to Congo, where they make a drink called anana, which is basically pineapple juice for drink. They are also crushing tomato paste using that equipment. But at the end of the day, that equipment was not meant to be doing those funny things. It was meant to do a lot of things which it is not doing today. Why? One, management. Investment. The outgrower schemes for the grow the pineapples. They're not. When they supply the pineapples, they're not being paid. Equally, we extrapolate that thinking and go to the maize, which is our staple food. When people produce maize, the farmers this year produced, June, July, they started selling FRA, sometimes being forced to sell to FRA. That again, up to date, they haven't been paid. This is the way his government has been running. It lives on borrowed money. They don't have the capacity to pay our farmers. So what does he talk about an economy